Hello, everyone. It's time for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 323, season 13. Today's date is April 13th, 2024. A lot of threes there. And welcome to the show. On today's program, I will talk about my memories of listening to WLS-AM radio 890 in the 1970s. And the reason I'm doing that is the 100th anniversary of the radio station. And plus, I will talk about my memories of vintage comic book novelty ads. When I explain further, you will understand. They were fun to look at when you're reading a comic book, that is. Okay. Right now, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Soft and Dry Deodorant. Remember this? And here's a commercial from 1979. What a wonderful decade, the 70s. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the program, folks. Thank you.
Nervous is planning a big outdoor party that becomes a big indoor party.
Nervous is why you need Soft and Dry.
Soft and Dry Roll-On. Nothing keeps you drier when you're nervous.
Nervous is your first day as nature counselor. With this kind of nature.
Nervous is why you need Soft and Dry.
Soft and Dry Roll-On. You can't buy a more effective roll-on to fight nervous perspiration.
Magic trick? Me? Volunteer?
Nervous is why you need Soft and Dry.
Oh, it's such a clutch off-season pickup, Dave.
I was worried we'd bring back the same team.
I meant those blackout motorized shades.
Blinds.com made it crazy affordable to replace our old blinds.
Hard to install?
No, it's easy. I installed these and then got some for my mom. She talked to a design consultant for free and scheduled a professional measure and install.
Hall of Fame son.
They're the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings in the world.
Blinds.com is the GOAT.
Shop Blinds.com right now and get up to 45% off select styles, plus a professional measure. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Soft and Dry Deodorant. The man who's speaking in the commercial, that's none other than Casey Kasem, famous DJ, voice of Shaggy and Scooby-Doo, and Robin in Super Friends. He was a great man. I remember this product during the 70s and 80s. I don't think it's still around. I haven't seen it. Maybe Amazon carries it, but, if I go to the drugstore one day, or Walmart, Target, you go to the deodorant aisle, maybe I'll find it. I doubt it's there. But I do remember the commercials, Okay, so... All right, so at the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to talk about my memories of listening to WLS-AM radio 890. Also, in the 1970s, that is, and also I'll talk about vintage comic, what's that called? Vintage comic book novelty ads, yeah. Like, for example, they sold itching powder, sneezing powder, joy buzzers, all kinds of funny stuff. I'll talk about my memories of that, and then I have 2 ads I found, and then I'll just read off if you remember, if they, rings a bell to most people. I'm sure it does when you were reading comics or magazines in the old days, because in comic books today they don't put ads like that anymore. I know, because I'm a comic book collector, so I see none of that. None of that at all. No. Okay. Before I get started, I want to mention a couple things. This week, I went out to lunch twice. Thursday, I went out with a lovely lady. Her name was Nicolette Chelios. She was a cousin of Chris Chelios, the famous hockey player. She invited me to lunch. We had a nice time. If you go to Facebook, you'll see my picture with her. Oh, it was wonderful. She loves loves my account, that, and it's amazing. Very, very sweet person. And also, a few days ago, there was a guy that reached out to me. He called me. I don't know how he got my number, and this was a kid that used to bully me when I was he used to bully me when I was a kid. He didn't go to school with me. He just lived in the neighborhood, my old neighborhood, that is, and I was fearful for my life. Most of the time I stayed inside because chances of that running into him were very high. So, and he was awful. He called me names. He punched me a couple times. I don't know what was going on with him. So I tried to avoid him, but later he disappeared. Either he moved or went to another school. And he did that. And then he called me out of the blue. And when I picked up the phone, on my iPhone, that is, he said, "This is blah, blah, blah." And I said, holy, what is he? And I'm thinking to myself, what does he want? What does he want from me after all this time? He said to me, I know about Van Chicago. I am on Facebook, but I keep a low profile. I don't communicate much. I'm not on much, social media. And he noticed my account, Van Chicagoan. And he says it's real cool. He loves it. He loves the nostalgia. And he came out and apologized for all the misery he caused me. And then I said to myself, I was going to say to him, well, it's a little late because I couldn't sleep at nights. You terrorized me. I was scared to death. I was so shy. I was afraid to talk to people, even meet new people, because of him mostly. And there were other kids that bullied me as well. And I was going to say that to him, but he sounded so sincere. I wanted to do that, but he was practically crying on the phone, and I asked him, "What's the matter?" He goes, "Well, I've had a rough life, and I'm not feeling well, and I just want to make amends, and I would like to take you out to lunch, and we could talk." At first, I was hesitant. I was thinking about. I was saying to myself, I don't want to go out with this guy because he was a jerk, But I relented, because I'm the nice guy. So I am also curious. I'm also curious to see what is going on. Why did he call me out of the blue? And so I said to him, yes, I will go. All right. So we went yesterday. We met up. He's changed so much, but he was so happy. This is the thing I did not say on Facebook. He came over and hugged me. And I go, and said, "Pete, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all I did. I'm sorry." He said sorry about 5 times. I go, "That's okay. That's okay. Don't worry about it." So we sat down and he bought me lunch. That was nice. And we talked about other kids in the neighborhood and all of that. And it was lovely. It was beautiful. And I asked him, "Do you want to take a selfie with me?" He goes, "No, I don't want to be photographed because he told me he's very private and he doesn't want to be photographed and he's embarrassed about all this." So I respected his wishes. I said, okay, I won't do that. He also told me not to mention his name. Okay, fine. I won't do that. I just tell him we had a nice lunch. I posted it on my social media accounts and everyone loved it. They also loved the previous post that of what happened, that he called me, out of the blue. But I have a forgiving nature. That's the way I am, but he put me through a lot of agony and hurt. They don't realize. So he explained to me why he was so cruel. He said because his home life at the time was not happy. His father was never home. His mother was not very nice. Not and him and his sister. So so he took out his anger on other people. For example, me. He did that. And he explained he ran away from home later on, and that's probably the reason why I didn't see him afterwards. And then he came back much older to his house, and but he's doing okay. He's doing okay. Health wise, yeah, he's a little sick, but he said he'll be okay. Hopefully, I told him about me. I explained about myself. He knew about it. With what I'm going through. And he wished me luck, and he's praying for me. He turned to religion like that. So that was nice. As for seeing each other again, maybe he'll let me know, but that's a big load off my shoulders. It really is. It's like, oh, thank God. I feel much better. I really do. I felt a lot better. I felt in years that it's behind us. Okay. All right, so let's get started. I'll talk about my memories of listening to WLS-AM Radio 890 until the 1970s. Now, first off, I wrote a story on my blog dated May 3rd, 2020. This is before the podcast. And I wrote about my memories, in a little detail. So I'll give you a little history of this first, and then I'll explain, when I started listening to the radio station when I was a kid. So it was WLS 890, started in Chicago. It was founded in 1924, so it's the 100th anniversary, and the WLS, the call letters, stands for World's Largest Store, and it's from the Sears. Started for Sears, and at first it didn't play music, not really. They had I don't know, kind of weird programming, and for example, they had at first they had the National Barn Dance. That's a very old program that started a long time ago, and then they brought it to television. And then they started, they had, like in the old days of radio, they had comedy shows, variety shows. Let's see. So it was called the Blue Network at the time. I don't know if a lot of people would not remember that. And they would play, for example, radio programs like Fibber McGee and Molly, Lum and Abner, and all that. And let's see. So, and then in 1960, they started playing top 40 music. Music. I said music twice. And the first song they played on May 2nd, 1960 was Alley Oop by the Hollywood Argyles. Alley Oop, whoop, 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 whoop. Love that song. It's hilarious. And they had some great DJs at the time. Like, for example, I think Dick Biondi was there. Yeah, he was there in the early days. And then until 1963, then you had Clark Webber. Then when Beatlemania came, with the Beatles, then it just took off. It was just whoa, like that. And they had the silver dollar surveys, and that lasted through. They had the surveys all the way to the 80s and 90s. And of course, the most famous DJ they had, of course, was Larry Luchak. He joined WLS. And then he had his partner, Tommy Edwards, little Tommy. And they did animal stories. Oh, that's hilarious. It's so funny. Then later on, there were other ones like that. It was Chuck Buell. He was the youngest radio personality at the time. Also, in the early 70s, John Rutgers Landecker joined. He's on WGN Radio now, and what a nice man. Also, that joined the radio station was Yvonne Daniels. Oh, she had a beautiful voice. Brant Miller, Steve King, and of course Fred Winston. He's a friend of mine on Instagram. Nice man. And so my memory, and Bob Surratt. I think I mentioned his name. I'm sorry. Anyway, so I listened to those guys. Mostly I listened to Bob Surratt and John Rutgers Landecker. I listened to them most of the time. Bob Surratt's on WGN Radio too. And I had a transistor radio. I had it with my Tutaloop. It's made by Panasonic. It's like a round radio. Mine was blue. It's kind of awesome like that. And my favorite, according to the story on the blog, I love listening to the commercials. Like, for example, there was Pepsi Cola, Chicken Unlimited. There was Clearasil, Stridex, medicated pads, Nestle's $100,000 bar, bubblegum brands, school supplies. They had upcoming concert events, and the DJs were yelling. And also they did these contests, and they call people out at random, well, they would send you a postcard at home. And when you pick up the phone, this is the landline phone, remember, and when they're calling, when the DJ's calling, it's a song On the Run by Pink Floyd, it goes like this, and also they also did Boogie Check, Boogie Check. They did that. It was funny. That's fine. Also, there was memorabilia, like, for example, T-shirts, bumper stickers, Frisbees. They had the WLS Magic Bus that would drive around. They would go to events, and the DJs were there. The music they played was very diverse. They played rock songs, although contemporary. Soul, disco, some disco, and it's changed so much like that. And then this went on for a long time. And then WLS-AM 890 went to all talk format in 1989 in August, and it doesn't play music anymore. No, gone. It's gone. So they have that, and but 95. The FM station does play music. They had that, but that's a long history of that, so I won't talk about that. Okay. Right now, I'm going to talk about, no, I'm not going to talk about, excuse me. I'm going to play a radio air check from WLS from 1975. I found this on YouTube. It's only 2 minutes long, and it features, of course, John Rutgers Landecker, and he's yelling at the radio. He's yelling at the microphone. It's hilarious. But they got some classic. He has some classic introductions with the music and all that, and it takes you back. Okay, so just sit back and let's go back in time to 1975 for a air check from WLS Radio 890. Okay, and I'll be right back, folks. Thank you.
Sometime this hour, John Rutgers Landecker will give away tickets to see the Stones in concert at the rate of a ticket a minute. Listen for the touchtone and be ready to win. 724 with John Rutgers Landecker at WLS-AM this week is People Week on State Street. Wagner Commons for popcorn dancing lessons and grass. Saturday. Time I'm in the midst of 20 minutes of Ticket a Minute for the Rolling Stones. Call in to win at WLS. WLS Music Radio is now giving away tickets to see the Stones in concert at the rate of a ticket a minute. Call now, 591-3045. 727 with John Landecker, Julian's man, little name, and this is really the opportunity, man. It will not happen like this on any other radio station in Chicago. The ticket a minute for Jagger and the Stones. Call now to win. Music Radio WLS 645 with John Landecker, Julian's my middle name, and WLS reminding you having drug problems. Whether that drug is cigarettes, speed, heroin, or alcohol. Call Lincoln 338-9500 for help. Baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. We'll get that chorus tonight. Signifies your chance to get on the radio at WLS. .46 at WLS Musical Radio, and yes, you tweet your teens. Note out Paris first of all persuasions. And time again. My telephone number is 591-3045. And you got to be online. To be on the air. Now, come on. Boogie check line straight ahead.
Hey, Atlanta. Say hello to Small Business Help from Apple. That's right. We're here to make starting and running your business simpler. From helping you choose the right devices to setting them up hassle-free, we can help you build your business in no time. Speak to a business expert and get the help you need at no cost whatsoever. At Apple, we're open for your small business. Go to apple.com/small business or visit an Apple store to learn more.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the radio air check from 1975 from WLS Radio 890. And there's more on YouTube if you want to listen. But last night I listened to one that Yvonne Daniels was the DJ. I'm going to talk about her one day. This was from June 19th or 18th, 1977, right? About the time I'm going to graduate from 8th grade at Correas Elementary School. It took me back, way back. Oh, this was like 47 years ago. It was a beautiful night. She introduced the songs. She did the commercials and all that. That was wonderful. I loved it. I loved listening to that. And because it took me to a time when I was a kid. I watched television, listened to radio, get away from all the nonsense that's going on in the world. It's just me, my transistor radio. If I'm outside or listening to in my bedroom or in the basement of my old house, it's just it was like I said, it was beautiful. You know, it's like it took me to another place, another world. I love that era at that time. I really did. I love the 80s. That's my favorite era. But that time, yeah. It was great. It really was great. Also, another memory of WLS, they had the book covers. Remember those? You put them in your textbooks. You can do that. So hopefully most of the alumni for WLS are listening when I publish this podcast. Maybe, maybe not. But I'm going to post it on my social media. So we'll see. I hope I did this right. Okay. Right now, I'm going to talk about vintage comic book novelty ads. Now, I'll explain what these are. There are ads that you find in comic books that, you know, they sell these goofy tricks and pranks, but you have to send them by mail. You don't buy them at a store. And they're kind of hilarious, you know. And then as a kid, you're sort of naive by these, you know. And you know, thankfully, I did not. No, I bought one. I'll tell you which one I bought. And, I'm a comic book fan. I still am. I collect them. And I used to see these ads. They were fascinating, very colorful and, eye catching. So, for example, this is what they had in the ads. So they had magic trick deck, like magic cards that Marshall Burdine did. They also had mark cards, that you play tricks on your like that. They had a mini spy camera. you would take a small camera and take a picture of that. Also, sneezing powder. They had that, so you would just place this over there and you watch people sneeze, and it's hilarious like that. They had, for example, a super slingshot. I never bought that. A book about 101 magic tricks, or you throw your voice, you learn ventriloquism, or speed hypnosis, electric joy buzzers, or dud firecrackers. And they had like a little gun. It's called a midget cult. It's like a little gun like that. Also personalized shirts. Genie powder is like, I don't know, you drop it on the floor or somewhere and there's like a big huge cloud of white smoke like that. Also they had something called satellite micro mini flashlight. It's like an itty bitty flashlight like that. So it's kind of funny. Okay, the next ad, I have another ad. I think people will remember this. Let's see. They had garlic gum, onion gum. You give somebody a piece of gum and it tastes horrible like that. Also, see behind glasses. I don't know if they work like that. Tricky golf club. Then you had a skinhead wig. You would get, you look like Kojak at the time. You put it on your head like that. They had the whoopee cushions. Those are funny like that. Then you have the ugliest hands, like they're like gloves, and you look like a monster. I think I knew a kid that wore those. They look terrible. Also, it was a finger chopper. Like you would you place your finger in the chopper and you pretend like it's they cut off your finger. It was a trick. It didn't happen like that. No. Let's see what else. There was trick black soap. So you would give somebody some soap and they put it on and your face turns black. Oh, that's funny like that. My favorite one is itching powder. I bought this. I bought the itching powder. I don't know why. I sent it in. When it came to my house, my mother's asking me, "What is this?" I told her, it's nothing, but I had explained to her in Greek. I lied to her. I told her something for school. So I brought the itching powder to school, and I want to play a trick on some of the girls, And you know what? It didn't really work. I don't know why. Maybe I did it wrong or place it in there. When some of the girls in my class found out what I did, they were mad. Oh my God, they were angry. I just play. Well, the guys loved it. So that's fine. So these ads ran, I think I don't think in the 60s, probably in the 70s and the early 80s, and now they don't print them anymore. And but they were fun to read. When you read a comic book, you also see ads of those. I would talk about other ads that's found in comic books another time, But these stood out the most. They really did, and they were a lot of fun. They really were fun to watch. They introduced new ones, but that's the ones I could find for the moment. Okay. So that's it then for this program. I'll do a recap of what I talked about. I talked about my memories of listening to WLS-AM radio, E90 in Chicago, also in the 1970s, that is, excuse me, and also vintage comic comic book novelty ads. Okay. This podcast will be published later on today, and it'll be available where podcasts are: Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Breaker, Overcast, wherever. Google Podcast is gone. They got some new thing that you do, YouTube Music. I haven't figured this out because I'm on YouTube anyway, so I'll get to that in a second. Also, this will be shared on my blog, vanchicagoland.blog. If you'd like to click on that, you can listen. Also, it'll be on my YouTube channel. Again, if you want to listen to my podcast, the easier way, go to my YouTube channel, do a search, either Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast, or my name, Pete Costanis. You will find it. Click subscribe. I failed to mention this. When people see subscribe, they get a little scared because they're afraid they have to pay. No, there's no fee. There's nothing. It's free. It is free. Even on my apps, you click on, there's no subscription. You just follow. If you click on the apps and it'll say following, then you get a notification. As for the YouTube channel, just click subscribe. You get a notification. Everything is free. No subscription. I mean, you don't pay anything. I think that's what people get scared like that. Also, be sure to my social media account, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Reddit, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. So you click on the link, and it'll take you right there. And if you want to listen, you can listen anytime, any place, any device. Your desktop, your laptop, your iPad, streaming, on your phone, whatever. It's there. Okay. And you can listen to previous episodes if you wish, if you have time. Okay. So I will do another podcast episode tomorrow. Maybe. Yeah, I probably will. Tuesday, no, because starting Monday, I will start my radiation therapy for the week, Monday through Friday. I'm not going to do one, so I'm going to be busy. Okay. So this is Pete Costanis, your host for Van Chicagoland Stories, a podcast. Thank you for joining me. It's a beautiful Saturday, and I heard tomorrow's going to be gorgeous. So just go out, have a walk. As for me, I'm a little tired still. I have to lie down most of the time, but I will try to go for a walk. I will, maybe a little walk, but I miss my walking. I miss my exercise. So hopefully, but I'm on this medication. It makes me very tired. So it's not easy to do. We'll see what happens. Okay. So again, this is Pete Costanis, your host of Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. Here's bye-bye for me, and here's a little traveling music from Ray Rayner saying bye, bye, bye. Take care, and I will talk to you soon. So long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.